One morning, a boy named Juo Young hurries to the bathroom mirror and grabs his left eye at the same time. He discovers a strange red symbol has appeared in his eye. He also sees some kind of information above his head, like his own name. But like most people, he ignores it and heads to school as if nothing weird happened, even though his eye starts looking like it belongs to Sasuke from Naruto. At school, Juo is just an ordinary guy with average looks and pretty bad grades. He's going to cram school because he failed an exam that everyone else passed. He's terrible at sports, but loves video games a lot. Since he can't fight back, he gets picked on and bullied after someone catches him liking a popular girl. While thinking about what happened, his eye starts acting strange again. He begins seeing information about everyone around him. Juo wonders if this is happening because he's been playing too much ranked Valorant, but the details are too real to be fake. He can see people's names and ages clearly, but he doesn't notice other stuff like difficulty or interest. Then he sees that the info about girls is more detailed than the guys. Sadly, he notices all the girls' interest in him is at 0. This makes him feel bad, thinking he's super boring. Eventually, he gets over it and spots the popular girl, Kim Ran, with 2 cool guys asking her out. His friend Park Jawoon asks if he wants to play Tekken later, but Juo says no because he has to study. Suddenly, his special eye turns on again, and he looks at Ran. To his shock, her interest level is now at 1. He stares at her, unable to believe the school's queen bee might actually like him a tiny bit. Ran catches him staring and calls him out, asking why he's looking at people with such creepy eyes. The whole class turns to watch them. Juo freaks out and says she's imagining things. She gets closer and asks if he's calling her a liar, while Juo yells that she caught him staring at her armor. Ran raises her hand, and Juo thinks he's done for as his life flashes before his eyes. But then, he looks up and sees Ran frozen, like time has stopped. It turns out his eye's power, called stopwatch, has kicked in, freezing time for 5 minutes. A pop-up appears, saying a tutorial quest has started. He has to make Ran scream really loud, and if he succeeds, her interest in him will jump by 20 points, plus something called target domination will also go up by 20. Totally confused, Juo starts to nervously smile. 5 minutes later, Ran is shaking on the ground, and everyone's stunned that the loser Juo has vanished. Ran feels strange, like something weird just happened to her super fast, and she keeps trembling, wondering why her body feels so off. Meanwhile, Juo is somehow back home, muttering that things could have gone totally crazy. During the 5 frozen minutes, Juo finished his quest and zipped back home in an instant. When he got there, his eye sparked up again, and messages popped up saying he'd leveled up. With this new level, he unlocked a skill called Eye of Incubus. Then another message told him to check his status window, which appeared like a game screen full of info about himself. He noticed his stats were pretty weak, even though he had a cool nickname. Soon, another message showed he had 2 unfinished quests. Curious, he tapped the screen, and it opened a list of his quests, one about boosting his strength, and another about conquering. Juo groaned about the strength training quest but brushed it off, excited that his time-freezing power could turn him from a loser into a strong guy. His celebration got cut short when someone behind him said, "Excuse me?" He turned to see his red-headed neighbor next door. Juo was stunned to realize a pretty girl lived so close, and I was just as surprised to learn he lived alone. He asked why she was there, and she told him to quiet down because she was studying for exams. While they talked, Juo realized he could see detailed info about people now, but he couldn't because he didn't have enough me. Confused, he sighed and started messing with his eye, adding points to me while ignoring his neighbor standing right there. This unlocked extra details about her, Park Nami, like her measurements and single status, making Juo smirk at her for scolding him. He activated stopwatch level 2 to freeze time again, and he grew a couple of inches taller, proving he could really control time. He called out Nami's name and tried the same trick he pulled on Ran, but it backfired. He got zapped for messing with someone whose interest in him was 0. Juo dropped to his knees and Nami rushed to help, thinking he was sick. The next day at school, Juo was deep in thought about the day before when Ran broke in and told him to come with her to the bathroom. There, she asked what really happened yesterday, but Juo played it cool, acting like nothing went down. This made Ran yell, accusing him of making her underwear vanish. Since leveling up, Juo felt like a new guy and flipped it back on her, saying she was just trying to get his attention. He kept pushing and Ran started shaking, but she warned him they were still in the girls' bathroom and threatened to scream. Juo dared her to try, saying she couldn't. When Ran opened her mouth to call his bluff, Juo used his eye to freeze time again. Moments later, Ran was alone and couldn't speak. Turns out Juo could now turn a person's mind on or off. He popped back in and asked if she was even a little shocked. He bragged that even though her mind was awake, she couldn't talk or move, adding she should have been nicer to him. Juo pulled her close and said he was like a demon king from games or anime. What happened next is too wild to describe, so just picture it. Oh, and he started controlling her and learned what she really liked. After a few minutes, a countdown warned him his power would end in 10 seconds. Stuck in a bad spot, Juo couldn't escape, and when his ability ran out, he thought he was toast. He panicked as Ran started waking up, but then her interest in him shot up to 40. Thinking fast, Juo tried to spook her by asking if she liked pineapple juice. She got shy, but he said there was no reason to feel weird about it. He claimed her drinking pineapple juice made a magical contract, saying his pineapple had strong magic and curses, so now she belonged to him. Juo warned that if she didn't obey, she'd be in big trouble, and she actually bought it all, even the part about Santa being real. To his shock, Ran started crying and clung to him. To calm her down, he said that even though he's a mighty demon king, she wasn't cursed right away. He told her she's his type, pretty and fit, so she's perfect for a demon king like him. Juo added that if she listened to him, she'd get riches, fame, and anything she wanted. Just then, the bathroom door creaked open, so he grabbed her arm and they hid in a stall. Seizing the moment, he called it sussy time and asked her to show off her skills. Somehow, they ended up on a pretend bike ride in the stall, but the buzzing electric motor was tough to keep quiet from everyone else in the room. Unfortunately, they overfilled the bike by mistake, and the story picks up with Juo sticking close to Ran. The Demon King makes sure she's got enough protein. Meanwhile, he levels up and gets stronger, and Ran's interest in him hits the max. Juo gains a new skill faster than you can say Dio, and they teleport back home. Ran heads to the shower and starts talking to herself, thinking a loser like Juo couldn't really be a Demon King. She says there's no way that's real, even though he can stop time. She grumbles that this shouldn't happen to the most popular girl in school. As she rants, she admits she's starting to like him, which makes her shiver at the thought. Suddenly, she falls to the floor, totally confused about what's going on. She feels a surge of energy and thinks Juo's punishing her. Meanwhile, Juo's thrilled with how the day went and keeps shouting that he's a real Demon King now. But a problem pops up, and he gets sidetracked figuring out how to use his leftover stat points. He's leveled up twice since getting his powers, boosting his strength, agility, stamina, and me, with 6 points still left. He tries putting 2 points into strength, and abs start showing up on his belly. Now he's stuck wondering if he should dump all his points into strength to get super buff like Arnold, or save some for me to improve his skills. Then a notification says Ran's thinking about him even though he didn't sneeze. Another pop-up asks if he wants to use soul connecting, and like clicking yes in a game queue, he hits it fast. A dark circle appears under him, taking him straight to Ran, but now he's invisible, like a sneaky fart. He scans the room and sees Ran collapsed right next to him. He tries to help, but she thinks she's hearing voices, not knowing an invisible guy is there. Thinking she's about to get punished, she starts apologizing, but it backfires. Juo hears her trash-talking him. She begs more, but he just asks if she's okay. She says she's feeling really hot, though Juo knows what she really means. He tells her to fix it herself before ordering more pineapples. Somehow, she picks up French and says, "Pardon," so Juo turns into a cheerleader and tells her, "Just do it." She listens, scared of making the Demon King mad. While Juo watches, she randomly learns French again, so he helps her with some romantic French words, pretending to be a jackhammer. They get interrupted by a ringing phone but try to ignore it. The phone rings again, and Juo checks it. Turns out some simp is texting her. The next day, Juo is back at school, starting to realize he's got some pretty cool powers and his stats are getting better. As class begins, he sees the same classmates, but now the girls who didn't care about him before are slowly showing interest, one by one. To his surprise, one girl even says, "Good morning," as she walks by, and he mumbles an awkward reply. Moments later, he hears another girl say he's starting to look cute. In just 2 days, he's gone from a nobody to someone a girl actually wants to sit next to. Shocked, he freezes when she asks, and she has to ask again because he doesn't answer. Finally, he manages to say, "Of course," but he still acts like his old shy self. Luckily, something wild happens, like the Fire Nation attacking, and his eye powers kick in again. This time, he checks out Park Ne and sees her interest level is at 8. Like in every anime where the hero builds a harem, he uses his powers without thinking twice and takes a closer look at her. He starts searching for pillows because he's got sneaky ideas, but he finds out she's super innocent. While everyone's frozen, he talks to himself, but suddenly he gets hit with a penalty for her low interest. He half expected this since the tutorial's over, and he hopes for a new domination quest to pop up. But when time unfreezes, nothing happens, and he's let down. Ne snaps awake, feeling off but steady, and notices Juo staring at her. With his smooth charm, he just says, "Hi," and she starts swooning over our ultra-confident guy. Her interest jumps from 8 to 9 just because he looked at her. Juo starts plotting in his head, knowing he's still got Ran under his thumb. Speaking of Ran, she's been acting like she's craving pineapple juice lately, so Juo decides to make her jealous. It works. When a popular guy talks to her, she ignores him, too busy fuming. She stands up, still brushing the guy off, and kicks Ne's chair, telling her to switch seats. She yells it again, shocking the popular crowd, who start whispering that Ran might actually like Juo. Hearing this, our simp king starts scheming and warns his friends to back off. Not done yet, he heads toward the demon king, himself. Ran finally sits next to an annoyed Juo who scolds her for messing up his harem plans. She feels bad, but he teases her, saying she's jealous, lightening the mood. Then he comforts her, saying she's his first, so she shouldn't worry too much, and Ran feels a bit better. Juo asks Ran if she followed his orders from last night, and she says yes. Turns out he picked her outfit, and she's missing a few things. Then Juo stands up to leave the room, but a simp blindsides him, knocking him down. The simp calls him a loser, but Juo secretly uses his trump card. Ran gets mad at the simp while Juo taps into his inner power. He takes a strong stance, like an earthbender, and gets back up. Now the simp's in trouble. Juo starts trash-talking the blonde guy, Yoongjun, and his eye powers kick in. He sees Yoongjun's strength is only 7, so he teases him, calling him a weak little boy. With a quick punch, Juo sends Yoongjun flying across the room. Amazed at his own strength, he whispers to himself that a few more levels will turn him into Superman. Like a true king, he tells Yoongjun he only seemed weak before because he was playing with him. Meanwhile, Ran's buzzing with excitement, watching the old loser Juo become a real man. Juo spares Yoongjun and tells him to follow him outside. Ran sticks by Juo's side, while Yoongjun trails behind, confused about what's going on. He asks why Juo brought Ran too, and Juo says he just wanted Yoongjun to see something cool. Juo pulls Ran close and makes Yoongjun watch, sparking jealousy. Ran starts following Juo's orders, leaving Yoongjun stunned. Juo keeps giving commands, and Ran happily goes along with them. Yoongjun looks like he's about to lose it, like he needs a bathroom break. Things heat up so fast, it's like watching a rocket take off. Yoongjun ends up looking like a Teen Titans character and tries using his own powers, going all in. But instead of facing a big punch, he gets kicked hard and goes down fast. Juo mocks him in an Australian accent, saying, "Oi," and that's when things get serious. He uses his eye again, freezing Yoongjun in place. Juo combines his skills, forcing Yoongjun to watch him and Ran together. This is where the story shifts into a wild new vibe that's up to your imagination. I feel bad for Yoongjun, so we'll skip the part where Juo acts like a jackhammer. Turns out Yoongjun never stood a chance from the start. When he hears this, his spirit breaks even more. Meanwhile, Ran gets thrown to the ground like a toy, and Yoongjun looks totally hopeless. Suddenly, a notification pops up saying Juo did something bad, earning him extra stats. Energy surges through him, boosting his charm and MP too. The next day at school, Juo and Ran show up, and after yesterday's chaos, Juo's popularity has exploded. After taking down the top guy, girls are now into him, while the boys are jealous that a former nobody is stealing the show. He even unlocks a new skill called Dignity, which puts heavy pressure on anyone weaker than him. Now the guys who used to tease him can't even look at him. Meanwhile, Jungjun's gone missing, but Juo spots Nayun and senses something's off, and not just because he's there. Nayun starts shaking like she's seen a celebrity, so Juo walks over to her. Of course, Ran gets jealous, noticing the Demon King's checking out someone else. When he sits next to Nayun, she stumbles over her words, so he uses his eye and sees her interest level jump to 31, with her difficulty dropping super low. Shocked by the high number, he starts plotting how to win her over. They chat about yesterday, and just as he hoped, a domination quest pops up. He plays it cool but slips up by saying her name before she tells it to him. He covers it by saying he's into her, which is how he knew, while Ran looks more and more annoyed. After school, he invites Nayun to his place, proud he hasn't even needed his powers yet. When they get there, he takes her hand and leads her inside like a gentleman. After a quick shower, he finds Nayun nervously sitting on his bed. He tells her she's the first girl to visit his house, and after some small talk, he moves in fast like a snake. No powers needed. He turns into a jackhammer again, and the rest is a blur. Later, Joe explains to Nayun that he's not dating Ran, so everything's cool. He uses his powers and learns Nayun likes strong guys like a gorilla. He plays that up, watching her interest skyrocket like crazy. Like in a game, he maxes out her interest bar and finishes the domination quest in no time. Right after, Juo gains more power as his stats climb higher. He smirks, thinking it was too easy, and asks if she wants a banana for some potassium. She gets excited, but he says nah, he's gotta run to the store. Nayun mutters something in French, annoyed, and Juo freezes. He forgot his phone with Duolingo to translate. Lucky for him, Nayun's ready to teach him some romantic French. They get into the lesson, but it gets loud, and the whole neighborhood hears them. Tired of the noise, he uses his eye to download Nayun's deepest secrets into his brain. Then he takes off her glasses so she won't get a headache. He turns into a jackhammer again, unlocking a skill that messes with someone's mind after every hit. He accidentally uses it on Nayun, and she goes wild, but he rolls with it. The new skill makes things even louder, and his red-headed neighbor starts getting mad. Eventually, Nami bangs her desk and gets ready to face off with our Demon King. She storms out with her fist clenched, not knowing Juo's busy sharpening his skills. Meanwhile, Juo finishes linking minds with Nayun, who's super happy with his new, crazy strong ability. It's so powerful that Nayun feels as free as I do when I finally hit the bathroom. Juo locks it in by handing Nayun his phone to add her number, which she does without hesitation. Now she's officially in his harem and even calls him her boyfriend. They hear a noise outside, and Juo's curiosity pulls him to check it out. He opens the door and finds Nami, his neighbor, who sarcastically reminds him she lives next door. She's thrown off when she sees Juo's gotten buffer, stumbling over her words as she gets flustered by this future king. Nami starts trembling, totally confused about what's happening to her, so Juo asks if she's okay. Her body moves like she's not in control, and she can't believe the weak Juo she knew is now ripped like torn jeans. Deep down, she starts thinking he might have been her type all along. With her acting strange, Juo uses his eye to check her out closer. He sees Nami's interest has shot up from 0 to 11 in just one day. He jumps at the chance and starts chatting with her. She shyly tries to mention the loud noises from earlier, but can't get the words out in front of this top-tier guy. Suddenly, Nayun peeks around the corner, shocking Nami by calling her sister. Things flip fast. A new domination quest pops up, and Nami's gone from chill to hostile in seconds. Nami steps out like she's from another planet and sharply says, "Can we talk?" Fast forward to a coffee shop, where Juo's stunned to learn his neighbor is Nayun's sister. A flashback shows Nami yelling at Nayun to go home, then dragging Juo along, landing him here with an angry redhead. Even though Nami's mad, a quest appears. Win her over in 1 week for a huge reward, 3 levels and 10 extra charm points. With such a big prize, Juo starts plotting, since Nami's his type anyway. He zones out dreaming, but Nami snaps him back by shouting. Another notification warns that if he fails, he'll lose his powers. In 2 seconds, Juo goes from daydreaming to freaking out, not the fun kind of edge. Helpful tips pop up, saying Nami won't gain interest while she's mad, making Juo nervous as she keeps scolding him. All he can think about is how to turn this around and finish the quest. He sips his drink nervously until he can focus, only to hear Nami demand he never see Nayun again. Juo blurts out a confused "why" in French, leaving Nami speechless and not in a good way. She slams the table and says Naeun needs to focus on studying, not distractions, since she's in a repeat school. Her rant gets so loud she accidentally helps Juo by embarrassing herself in public. Everyone nearby stares, and without Juo doing a thing, Nami's humiliation level hits 8. After her outburst, she excuses herself and heads for the door. But Juo stops her by speaking up, deciding to rile her up more. He says there's no way he'll leave Naeun alone, wagging his finger with sass. Nami spins around furious, but Juo stands and uses his powers, seizing the moment. He's got 10 minutes to pull off his plan. He starts by explaining to a frozen Nami that just because he and Naeun were together doesn't mean they're dating, catching her off guard. Nami mutters something back even though she can't move much, which surprises Naeun. A pop-up shows up saying Nami's fighting Juo's powers a bit while she's yelling at him. Still, she can't win, so Juo leans in and asks how she wants him to fix things. He starts throwing insults at her, but they're true, and he's just keeping the vibe chill. Nami's stunned by what's happening, but Juo casually says she's his type. He goes full Demon King mode and tells her if she doesn't want him around Naeun, he'll hang out with her instead. He starts checking her out like it's a yearly review, but she fights back, strong enough to weaken his powers a little. She asks if he's lost it, but Juo just plays innocent. She warns him she's training to be a lawyer and he'll regret messing with her in jail. Juo tells her to look around. Everything's frozen, and no one, not even fancy cameras, can catch what he's doing. Pineapple juice was all over this scene, but as time ran out, he finished the quest and got a small stat boost. The next day, Juo's getting stronger and jokes he's a fun guy like a mushroom. In just 3 days, his stats have shot up big time. If this was a game like Blox Fruits, he'd be close to mythical status. With his strength over 10, he's packing on more muscle. He used to mess around, but now he's thinking he might actually become a real Demon King. His thoughts get cut off by sandal footsteps outside. He guesses it's Nami. He's right. His fiery neighbor slams her door hard, and he figures she's mad, probably not over that time-freezing trick he pulled. Then, bad luck hits. Juo's out of cash. He whines to himself that he's broke, even with all his wild powers. Instead of using his abilities for good, he thinks about calling Ran for food, but decides it'd hurt his pride. Then he remembers he can stop time and rushes to a nearby store. He hesitates, knowing stealing's wrong, but somehow everything else he's done doesn't count as bad to him. He activates his powers and steps inside with 5 minutes to grab what he needs. He snags some ramen but trips over a frozen part-time worker stocking drinks. It's a K-pop idol trainee, and he gets distracted. Anyone into New Jeans? He tries to touch her without checking her interest level and gets pushed back by his own powers. Grumbling, he leaves the store, recalling a wise saying, as long as there's a chance, he's got a goal like in any good anime. He checks the time. 30 seconds left before everything unfreezes. He barely makes it out as his powers fade, relieved but annoyed. He mutters that if that idol hadn't distracted him, he could have grabbed some Kit Kat ice cream too. A notification pops up, saying Juo did something naughty again. Instead of getting punished, Juo gets a big pile of experience points and an upgrade to his main power. He's stunned. His idol Dio trained hard to freeze time for just seconds, but in a few days, Juo can stop it for over 10 minutes and pick who stays frozen. He mutters to himself that becoming a Demon King might actually happen. Later, he gets 2 alerts at once. Ran and Naeun are both thinking about him, which calms him down a bit after his K-pop idol run-in got him all worked up. He's stuck choosing between them, but then decides he doesn't need either one. A second later, he grabs his phone and calls Naeun, craving some clear-headedness after his banana moment. He tells her to rush to his place, saying it's the master's orders. When she arrives, Juo's munching a sandwich while Naeun's eating his ice cream. Right then, Ran races up the stairs and bursts into Juo's apartment, asking what he needs. She walks into a messy scene, too wild for the editor to keep, and freezes in shock. Naeun, caught in the act, can't answer without choking. So an angry Ran yells, "What are you doing, stepmaster? I mean, Naeun?" With no reply, Ran's fury takes over. She puts on imaginary boxing gloves and kicks Naeun hard, asking if she's lost her mind. Juo tries to calm Ran down, but she snaps at him to shut up, a big mistake. Nervous, Juo says she should listen since he's the master, but Ran, like in a cheesy romance flick, says a woman has to fight for her man. She keeps shouting at Naeun until Juo's had enough and steps in. He tells Ran she's getting too full of herself, snapping her back to reality. He points out she's late and questions why she's talking so much. Ran apologizes, saying she was late because she wanted to look good for him. Juo pulls her close and says that's no excuse. He doesn't care about makeup or clothes. With smooth charm, he tells her to be like his favorite pizza. Nothing on it but pineapples. Naeun, right there, asks if he means right now, annoying Juo a bit, but Ran goes along with it. Still not happy, Juo tells her to do squats so he can check out her rear guard. She does a bunch, and Juo pulls her onto his lap. After that, it's all good. Ran teases that he's mean, and he admits it was punishment for earlier. He introduces the girls and tells Ran not to fight Naeun anymore. Ran agrees fast, but Juo sees she's still jealous of Naeun's banana eating. He reassures her she's his first and not to worry. Then he asks Ran for a favor, which she's quick to accept. Turns out, he wants her to teach Naeun some special skills. He says Ran's bike riding experience makes her perfect to teach a beginner like Naeun. Ran gets mad fast and smacks him, leaving Juo confused. She says he deserved it for how he worded it, then asks what he wants her to teach. They end up doing a full lesson on how French became the language of love. Through it all, Naeun picks up basic French with Ran's help. A hidden quest pops up, make both girls happy at once, and if he nails it, his power level could top 9,000, beating out Ash Ketchum. With the quest on, Juo rushes to finish as Naeun hits the finish line in a flash, letting him complete it. 2 notifications pop up, giving Juo a new skill called Girls Link, along with extra stat points and more MP, like in a gacha game. Another hidden message says his incubus power leveled up, unlocking a passive ability called Weakness. As he grabs his new powers, Santa takes over his soul for a few seconds. After, he whispers a thank you in Naeun's ear while still acting like a jackhammer. Mid-cosplay, his new weakness skill kicks in, showing glowing spots on bodies, weak points for total chaos. Juo goes full demon mode with these overpowered tricks, muttering that it's basically cheating. He decides to try Girls Link, letting him share Naeun's feelings with someone else who has over 20 interest. Turns out, he can only link her with Kim Ran or Park Nami so far. He picks Ran instead of Nami, and the skill works perfectly. Sorry, you'll have to skip a whole spicy chapter. The girls feel like they just won their first Fortnite game. Meanwhile, Nami's in her room, studying and getting mad at Juo, wondering if he can really control time. She thinks about reporting him to Riot Games, but knows people would call her nuts. Remember how Juo didn't link Nami with her sister? Well, the sneaky Demon King does it the next day. Nami jolts awake, thinking everything was a dream, but Girls Link makes it hard for her to move, thanks to Juo's power. She freaks out when she sees it's past noon and she hasn't studied, muttering that she's toast. Her door creaks open, scaring her like a Roblox door's jump scare. Instead of getting ready to fight, Nami just asks who's there. Lucky for her, it's her sister Naeun calling out. But when she gets closer, Nami's nightmare comes true. Juo's there too. She feels ashamed seeing him, and he casually asks to come in, making Nami yell at him to leave or she'll call the cops for breaking in. Naeun steps in, telling her to chill, but Nami snaps, using her full name. Things are getting serious. Nami throws insults at Juo, but Naeun just grins creepily and says, Juo's her master now. Nami's stunned and demands to know what's up. Naeun says she's introducing her master to her sister, and that Nami will get it once she joins the fun. This is when you'd expect dramatic music. Nami's worst fear is unfolding. Naeun tells her sister she's sure Nami will love what's coming, leaving Nami convinced her sister's too far gone. Meanwhile, Juo claps for Naeun, praising her for explaining it so well. He activates his eye, saying they're here to play. Not like Warzone, though. Nami feels chills like she's in a scary movie, but shakes it off and warns Juo not to come closer or she'll get serious. Juo tells her to relax, but like in every twisty anime, he grabs Naeun instead. Turns out they're not here for Nami, they're just showing off their new relationship with Sass. Juo tells Naeun to cosplay a beach girl and take it even further. Naeun agrees instantly, no hesitation, even with Nami right there, frozen like a stubborn stain after Taco Bell. Juo's thrilled with Naeun's wild obedience. It leaves him speechless. He pulls Nayeon closer, and they act like two wacky peas in a pod. Nami starts trembling at the scene in front of her, powerless except to yell at Juho to stop. Her shouts don't faze Juho or Nayeon, as Juho's demon powers completely pull Nayeon in, making her even happier than before. Things heat up fast, going from calm to wild in no time. Nami's so shocked she can't even speak anymore, giving Juho the perfect chance to turn up the drama. He coldly blames Nami for how Nayeon's acting now. Then Nayeon pipes up, asking if Nami joined their sussy gang. Would she outrank her? Juho says yeah, Nami would be number 3, while Nayeon's number 2 on the list. With that settled, Nayeon aims to climb to the top like she's scaling a mountain. Juho teases Nami, asking if she had fun yesterday, making her realize he was behind it all. If you forgot how spicy this story gets, Juho's quick to remind us by using his linked powers. In seconds, Nami's hit hard, like a ship sinking from a burst pipe. But Juho doesn't stop. He turns into an iceberg, finishing her off like in Titanic. Long story short, they mess up her bed and study space in all sorts of ways. Nayeon goes wild, heading to Alabama mode, and it turns out she's had an inferiority complex this whole time. Nami's left wrecked with no one around to help. Then, Protein Man Juho shows up with milk buckets, using his weak point skill like a pro. In the end, Juho finishes a hidden quest, earning 5 random bonus stats and fully dominating his target. He levels up from the chaos, boosting his charm by 10 and unlocking a secret new skill we don't get to know yet. The next morning, Juho wakes up saying he slept great after chugging milk, but he admits that even with more strength, he's still dodging leg day. A notification congratulates him for hitting level 10, and another says his title's changing as a reward. Confused by what the system means, he checks his info page, but his title looks the same. Still scratching his head, he shrugs it off and focuses on being level 11. He dumps some bonus points into strength, aiming for level 20 to fix his skinny legs. When he does, a new alert says he's got superhuman strength and telekinesis for hitting 20. Juho's thrown off. How'd he get telekinesis from strength instead of MP? Pumped with power, he shows off his beefier calves and quads, ready to test his new tricks. He stands up, hears a loud crunch, louder than me munching Doritos, and looks down to see he accidentally smashed the floor with his new strength. A pop-up tells Juho he's triggered a skill, and the system reveals all his physical stats have passed level 10, beyond human limits. This freaks Juho out. He just stood up and wrecked the floor, and now he's worried about fixing it before the landlord sees. Another annoying pop-up says he won't control his strength until his stats adjust to everyday life. Juho mumbles that he's living his manga dream of being super strong, but it's the kind you'd watch on YouTube to hide from your family. He unlocks a new skill, Devil Effect, and earns the title Official Heir, which sounds sneaky, so he checks its description. It says the skill makes him cooler and braver, so he decides to test it. He tiptoes to a mirror to avoid smashing more floor, activates it, and his hair turns pink with a colorful glow around him. Thrilled with his Goku-like look, he wants to show off, but then switches it off thinking the girls already find him cool since he's a charm master. A sudden rush downstairs creates a new issue he needs to fix fast. He rushes out, bangs on a door like he's desperate for the bathroom, and Nami opens it, yelling at him to leave or show her pormagum. Confused by her attitude, he thought he'd won her over. He checks his domination log and sees she's fully dominated. He bangs again, threatening to break the door, and it works. Nami asks why he's there so early. Juho says he's there to fuse their pods romantically, but Nami snaps back, not impressed. Puzzled why she's not like the other girls, he uses his eye and sees her interest is low and difficulty high, since they were enemies before. Scratching his head for a fix, he activates his new skill, turning into a Goku wannabe. Nami's spooked by his otherworldly vibe, and he orders her to crawl to him. And it actually works. Just like that, Juho proves cosplaying Goku can win over anyone. It works. She floats up, her clothes somehow vanishing like they're invisible. Juho turns into a jackhammer again, this time mid-air for a few seconds. Nami ends up blissed out on the bed, but Juho says they've still got the big finish. Afterward, he tells her to always open the door when he knocks, and she agrees. Then he asks if she's got cash, startling her with the sudden topic shift. He says he's hungry and wants her to take him out to eat. Lucky for him, Nami's loaded, so he ditches her without bringing her along. Her soul's crushed. She wanted Korean fried chicken too. Fast forward to a coffee shop, where Juwo's celebrating with cash from his shopping spree. Juwo swings by the grocery store where he saw the K-pop trainee, thinking it's time to boost her interest. He opens the door fast, but instead of her, he's greeted by a guy who looks like he'd sing Gangnam Style for a living. With no trainee in sight, Juwo bails and pretends it never happened. He's mad at himself. Turns out the guy was such a good salesman that Juwo ended up buying stuff he didn't want. Super let down, his big excitement fizzles out, and he gets distracted walking home. While zoned out, he bumps into a huge, tough-looking dude who could squash him. Juwo starts to apologize, then remembers his powers, but before he can use them, the guy says, "Sorry first." Turns out his dignity skill kicked in, so Juwo doesn't get to test his newer tricks. Disappointed again, he turns off dignity and heads home. On the way, he hears a ruckus from an alley and checks it out. He finds a boy crying and bowing to some people. It's a shakedown, and the kid's getting bullied. It hits Juwo hard, reminding him of his old, powerless self before he became the Demon King. He steps in to help and gets mocked by two girls while a guy tells him to scram. Juwo doesn't waste time. He starts throwing fast, hard punches. With crazy strength, he sends one thug crashing into a wall. Seeing this, one of the girls starts rethinking her choices. Juwo's outnumbered but not outdone, so he keeps going, fists ready, asking if they're not scared after he just launched their buddy like a cartoon. The main bully finally turns from the kid to Juwo, asking who he is. Juwo switches his face to look like Rock Lee and says they're messing with his little brother. The bully's face drops like he just remembered a surprise test. He knows he's in deep now, regretting his moves. Juwo swaps his calm look for big, strong hands and slams the guy into the ground like it's quicksand. His eye shows the guy's name is Go Hyok, level 4 with weak stats. Juwo's annoyed to see this high schooler's already popped a cherry when he didn't until way later. Juwo trashes him with insults, then smashes his face into the ground. The guy's still awake, so Juwo tells him to stand or he doesn't care about living. Go Hyok starts begging, and Juwo turns to the others, telling them to beat it. He warns that if they mess with his brother again, they'll face the Demon King's wrath. His words fly right past them. They're too shocked to listen. Juwo gets ready to wreck the rest since they won't budge or talk. Lucky for them, one guy snaps out of it but can only mumble, "It wasn't us." Juwo's eyebrows shoot up as the boys take off running before he can pound them. Suddenly, a phone blaring at full volume starts recording, and one of the girls threatens Juwo, saying she's got him on video fighting high schoolers. She nervously asks if he wants to wreck his life since he's already graduated. It doesn't bother our cool guy. He activates his signature skill, freezing the girls in place while they're still aware of what's coming. He waves his hand like a wizard, no wand needed, wishing someone would call him magical. With a whistle, he makes her phone explode in a flash. Then he kicks on his devil effect skill, glowing green and purple like a superhero, calling out to Trunks. The girls, stuck but awake, start asking what he even is. In a split second, Juwo gets in her face and asks if she wants to get wrecked for being braver than the guys. She switches gears fast, crying and mumbling apologies. Juwo's caught off guard and feels bad as she breaks down from just one threat. A notification pops up. Kang Ji, he's interested in him, hits 100, freaking him out a bit. He glances left and sees another alert. Yun Ming Young's interest is also at 100. Juwo's baffled why these girls are into him now, then figures they're into tough bad boy types who can fight or play rough. Nervously, he wonders why they'd fall for him with danger so close. He pulls them shoulder to shoulder and tells them to come back next year since they're still students. Turns out Juwo's got some standards now. He leaves them behind, waving as he walks off into the sunset, telling the bullied kid Gungwon to follow him home. They walk in silence, and Juwo can't believe he just turned down 2 girls. A new notification hits, saying he lost 3 stat points for doing good deeds, bumming him out. Right then, Gungwon taps his shoulder at the worst time, and an annoyed Juwo spins around, demon vibes on full blast. Still, Gungwon bows and thanks him, unfazed. Juwo brushes it off, saying it's no big deal, and tells him to avoid getting beat up next time. Gungwon doesn't leave, though. He invites Juwo over for free food as a thank you for saving him. Food's all it takes to hook Juwo, so they head to Gungwon's place. When they get there, The smell and sight of tasty food welcome Juo like a hug. But it's not just soup on the menu. Gungwon's mom greets him too, and Juo's face twists like he's holding something in. Could be a spicy chapter ahead. She tells him to eat up, and Juo checks her info. Somehow this restaurant lady already has 40 interest in him. She says to enjoy, but Juo's mind is elsewhere. He takes a bite, but his expression shows he's torn. Not the MSG making him drool, but his wild thoughts. Gungwon snaps him out of it, asking if the food's good. Juo comes back to reality, praising the meal, though he's still distracted by something else. Gungwon's mom thanks Juo for liking the food and says he doesn't have to be shy if he doesn't. Juo jumps in, insisting he's not just being nice, the food's genuinely good. Then, bam, a domination quest pops up, promising tons of experience points depending on how far he gets. For the first time, Juo's freaked out by a quest, feeling low since it involves a married woman. A follow-up notification warns that failing means losing 5 levels and his whole dominated list, making Juo jump up in shock. Gungwon asks if he's okay, worried by his reaction, but Juo brushes it off, saying he got a surprise text. Gungwon's not buying it. He points out Juo doesn't even have his phone. He leans in, asking again if Juo's all right, starting to suspect something's up. Gungwon flat out asks if Juo's a superhuman, confusing his mom, who wonders what they're talking about. Juo tries to laugh it off, but Gungwon's piecing it together. Juo never got his name, and he fought off those bullies like a champ. Lucky for Juo, Gungwon's mom cuts in, joking that her son's been playing too many games like Roblox Fruits. Gungwon insists it's real, saying he saw it himself, while Juo sits nervously watching it all go down. Mom tries to save Gungwon from looking silly, calling him a troll. Gungwon begs Juo to back him up, but Juo just plays along. Finally, Juo cracks and asks why Gungwon cares so much if he's superhuman. Gungwon says fate brought Juo here to teach him powers, frustrating Juo even more. Juo asks what Gungwon would even do with powers, but Mom interrupts, telling him to drop the nonsense. Gungwon apologizes for sounding dumb and slinks off, bummed out. Now it's just Juo and Gungwon's mom, who admits she knows Gungwon's been bullied for ages. She says he's a good kid, just too into games and anime, and she's tried to change him but never could. Juo seizes the moment, promising he'll help Gungwon turn things around, and she thanks him happily. Then Juo asks for a favor back. Can he fill her fridge with his milk just once? Mom's thrown off by the weird request, but gives him a second shot, brushing it off. Juo doubles down, saying he's the protein man and wants to explode her, begging for a quiet spot to talk. They move to another part of the restaurant, and I spot a drink for you sign, realizing we're deep in spicy territory. Juo knows thinking with his banana has landed him in another sketchy moment. He corners Mom, who stammers, facing the young demon king. In this big showdown, he admits he's a weird guy, but it comes out wrong and scares her off. Stuck, Juo tries to fix his bad move, thinking with his head instead of his pineapple. He blurts out that he's superhuman, and Mom replies in French, surprising him. Juo flips on devil effect, glowing dark and powerful, making her waver. He's not done. Showing off telekinesis seals the deal, and she drops to her knees, convinced it's no joke. Juo dials up his charm, turning off the effect and saying he's really superhuman. Mom's jaw drops, realizing Gungwon wasn't making it up after all. Juo's plan works, so he kneels in front of Gungwon's mom and says he usually hides his powers, but today was special. He had to save Gungwon. He smoothly adds that using his powers too much causes a problem under his clothes. She doesn't get it, so he makes up a story. He'll die if he doesn't fill someone with milk in time as the protein man. Seeing her shocked face, he doubles down like he's pitching a deal from KFC. He claims he overused his powers saving Gungwon and is in deep trouble now. Gungwon's mom, being nice, thinks he's in real danger. To seal the deal, Juo begs harder than I do for that last kill in a game. She starts seriously considering his side, since he did save her son, but then snaps out of it and apologizes without explaining why. Finally, she says she's married, old, and there's a big age gap. Juo starts fake crying, pretending it's all about her twin pyramids that caught his eye. Then she flips the script, eyeing him like I do chocolate, and suggests helping with her hands, like shaping dough. Juo shuts that down like a Roblox tycoon pro, saying it's not enough for a superhuman like him. He raises the stakes, asking her to use her face hole instead, claiming it'll save him today. She trembles at the wild idea. Juo vanishes for a sec, waiting for her answer, but she spots his armor on the floor. He's just moving super fast. A voice says he's ready, and as she turns, the editor bolts to the bathroom. This is peak spicy anime territory. We're stunned. Juo saved a kid and ended up as his milkman stepdad. That night, Gungwon's mom tries to sleep but can't, replaying the day. She tells herself at least it was thick and sticky, like my sick day snot. Her thoughts spiral to what could have been, and she flops over in a weird spot, alone. Next morning, Juo wakes up thinking how close he was to nailing his goal with Super Lady. He checks her stats, bummed that her domination level barely budged. Like in a game, he feels driven to finish it. Juo heads back to school after a while. There, Ran's jealous since he hasn't called her lately. She bumps into Naeun and grills her, asking if they've been busy without her. Naeun says she hasn't heard from Master either. They figure Juo's tied up with Nami instead. Nami, fueled by the idea of solo leveling Juo, starts tapping into her own dark vibe, just as Juo rolls up with a serious look, his presence alone shifting the mood. The girls catch Juo's vibe fast, but when they try to say hi to the former loser turned cool guy, he brushes them off, saying he's busy today. Turns out he's fibbing right to Jungjun, who actually showed up at school. Juo zooms over to him, and with Jungjun still shaken from their last beatdown, Juo lands one kick, dropping him again. Jungjun shakes, apologizes fast, and swears he's done liking Ran. Surprisingly, Juo doesn't crush him, and just asks if he's the old leader of Bukyun High. Jungjun nods, scared, and Juo warns him to keep his crew in line or face the Demon King's full fury. With that, Juo strolls off, cheerfully telling Jungjun to make sure no one bugs Gungwon again. As he tries to leave school, Naeun and Ran catch up, asking why he's dipping out so early. Juo spins around and says eating pizza and chicken every day gets old. He's craving rice and soup. Naeun babbles, and both she and Ran miss his point completely. Back at the restaurant, Gungwon's mom is all mixed up thinking about Juo, and, speak of the devil, he shows up right on cue. She's shocked he's there on a school day and asks why, but Juo ignores her, asking if Gungwon's home yet. Like a flash, they vanish into a closet, where Juo gets a lesson from this seasoned pro. She's old like Gandalf. It gets so wild she can't breathe, just like our editor watching these scenes. Long story short, she's different from the other girls Juo's met, aging like fine wine. He rocks her world without even using powers, and she returns the favor, officially making the milkman part of the Titan family tree. They hear a knock. Gungwon's home and asks if his mom's resting in her room. She's caught off guard, but Juo pushes it further, seeing his chance. He goes all out, like an Elden Ring speedrunner dodging every hit, turning her soft voice into a beastly roar. Juo keeps hammering away while Gungwon bangs on the door harder, looking ready to go colossal Titan mode. Gungwon twists the knob, yelling for his mom, but she saves it, shouting she's just changing. That stops him. He's not nosy like some people, and he backs off. He heads downstairs, telling her to take her time and not worry about him. Sweet guy that he is, he yells he's off to open the restaurant for them. Juo keeps going full force, even though he's already broken through. He bumps her domination level to 40%, but a notification says her interest dropped 10 points because of his shady moves. Meanwhile, Gungwon's at work, thankful for his mom's hard work, clueless that a sneaky Demon King's taken a shine to her. After messing around with Gungwon's mom, she acts like nothing happened and asks how Gungwon's doing at school. Right then, Gungwon mentions Juo, and her body tenses up, like me when I drink regular milk instead of lactose-free. She makes a quick excuse about feeling sick and bolts to her room. Lying in bed, her mind races about the wild secret she's keeping from her son. Suddenly, spicy thoughts hit her, and just hearing the Demon King's name flips her switch. Meanwhile, Juo's playing mobile games but keeps losing, so he grumbles that games are for losers. He shifts his focus to yesterday's conquest with Gungwon's mom, but that backfires. His peaches and bananas perk up again. He tries to hold some standards, thinking it's too late to bother her, but then remembers his crazy powers. He jumps out of bed, thrilled, and activates soul connecting to link up with the hot Jumwon. A pop-up stops him cold, saying he can't connect right now, and he's furious. Digging into it, He finds out her domination level needs to be over 70 for it to work. Checking his list, he sees she's stuck at 69 and he sulks, realizing he's finally lost at something. Stubborn as ever, he considers messing with other girls for relief instead. But then, like a miracle, his list pops up. Her dominations hit 70 and the blue dot next to her name glows. With his own blue balls in play, Juo seizes the chance, uses his eye, and confirms he wants to teleport to her. In a flash, he's back at the restaurant, turning invisible like a superhero. He spots Jumwon thinking about him while doing some shady stuff, and he's instantly pleased. Like a ghost, he whispers to her, freaking her out since he's invisible. She blurts out that she doesn't like student Ouyang, but he fires back, threatening to never visit and fulfill her real wants. She begs the ghost for advice, so Juo orders her to do the same wild stuff Ran did way back in episode 1. Juo gets too hyped watching her play games alone and turns into a Pokemon Lickitung, then a full-on jackhammer going all out. He maxes out her domination level and finishes his first B-rank quest. Notifications flood in. He's earned a new skill. Monster King's Knight, stuck at level 1 for beating a ranked challenge. The next day at a coffee shop, Juo's curious about this new skill and checks its details. Turns out, Monster King's Knight lets him share some of his powers and stats with someone he picks, but only for a little while. When Ouyang figures out what his new skill really does, he feels totally let down. He doesn't know he could use it to make someone as strong as him. Instead, he just keeps sighing, wondering why the system didn't give him more skills or a level up. Suddenly, the door flies open, and Armin, who has Titan powers, walks in to meet him. Ouyang quickly tells Armin to sit down, and Armin agrees fast. It turns out Ouyang wants to test his new skill on Armin, pretending to teach him superpowers. But since Ouyang is broke from Matt using time-stop powers elsewhere, he asks Armin to grab them some coffee first. After getting his coffee, Ouyang shares his plan to teach Armin superpowers, something Armin had been begging for days. Armin is shocked, thinking he can finally live as a powerful blocks fruit user. He gets loud, refusing to believe he's about to awaken a donut power. Ouyang shuts him down quick, warning him to be quiet, or everyone will figure out who he really is. Once Armin calms down, Ouyang explains 2 big rules for gaining superpowers. First, Armin's goals have to match what Ouyang wants. Second, he has to be naturally good at using them. With the rules clear, Ouyang stands up and asks why Armin even wants superpowers. Armin says he needs power to protect his mom and sister. Ouyang gets curious when Armin mentions his sister. Things get weird when Armin starts talking about how hot his mom and sister are. Ouyang, now interested, asks more about his sister. Armin reveals she's Choi Nana, a K-pop idol trainee from a big company. Ouyang suddenly remembers that name. Choi Nana is the part-time worker he's been chasing all along. He starts talking to his inner demons, stunned by this news. Armin keeps going with his sad story, saying his family gets picked on by other guys because he's too weak to stop them. Ouyang gets mad, especially when he hears someone messed with Nana, but Armin doesn't give a name. Armin adds that kids at school bullied him for being Nana's brother, even editing her pictures to make her clothes vanish. Ouyang, now furious, stops Armin from talking more. Demon energy starts leaking out of him as he tells Armin to forget everything he just said. He calls Armin a loser and asks what superpower he wants, bragging that he can give him anything. Armin, amazed, asks if Ouyang can stop time. Right then, the world freezes around them. People's faces even start to fade. Armin turns to Ouyang like a champ, and Ouyang smirks, saying, "Does that answer your question?" But when Armin asks if he's a god, Ouyang bonks him on the head for the dumb question. Getting annoyed, Ouyang tells Armin to pick a power fast or he won't teach him anything. Since Armin's taking too long, Ouyang decides to choose for him. He uses his special eye to check Armin's skills and sees they're worse than his own were long ago. Nervous but determined, Ouyang activates Monster King's Knight, sending a red flash of power into Armin. A pop-up congratulates Ouyang for making Armin his first knight, lasting a week. Another notification says Ouyang unlocked a new skill, Ravaging Hands, at level 1. Looking closer, he sees Armin gain some strength and a new power, telekinesis. Ouyang tells Armin he shared some strength with him, but it'll only last a week. They start practicing Armin's telekinesis on a cup. Armin focuses hard, stretches his hands, and moves the cup with his mind. But after one try, he collapses from low stamina. He recovers just as Uyang's about to leave, then asks if getting stronger will make him popular with girls. Uyang perks up at the sudden topic shift. He starts thinking Armin might actually be a prodigy in the making. Choi swayed a bit and said he felt dizzy. Young told him it was normal for a beginner. He advised Choi to practice with small things and build up his stamina. Choi nodded and thanked him. Then he shyly asked if having a superpower would make him popular with girls. Young laughed and said he knew Choi was pretending not to care. Choi admitted the girls at school talked about Young a lot. Young smirked and said his rough attitude was why they liked him. Choi didn't get it and asked what he meant. Young decided to prove it and called a girl named Nami. He told her to come to the cafe right away. She showed up fast, dressed up nice, and asked why he called her. Young teased her about looking good for him. Nami got flustered and denied it. Young turned to Choi and said this was proof girls liked him even when he was mean. Nami snapped at Young for talking nonsense. He ignored her and made a crude comment about her looks. Then he smacked her on the backside, surprising Choi. Nami yelled at him for doing that in front of Choi. Young just laughed and told her to sit down. He reminded her of something he'd ordered her to do when he called. He demanded she prove she'd obeyed him right there. Nami hesitated because of the crowd. Young didn't care and told her to do it anyway, leaving Choi stunned. Young grinned slyly and kept teasing Nami in front of Choi. He checked something and asked if she'd been obedient. Nami muttered that he just wanted to see for himself. Young pushed his teasing further until Nami's face turned bright red. Choi noticed and asked if she was okay. She brushed it off and said she remembered something from home. Young smirked and realized he hadn't introduced them. He told Choi this was his girlfriend, Park Nami, and told Nami that Choi was someone he knew. He bragged that Nami was older and studying law at Korea University. Choi nodded and said Nami was as pretty as his sister. Young laughed and said he was surrounded by beauties, so he wasn't sure. He boasted about how lucky he was to have such a great girlfriend. Choi felt a strange, anxious twist in his stomach. He excused himself to the bathroom. He wondered if he was nervous or just needed to pee. Young waved him off and said to go ahead. Choi apologized and hurried away. As soon as he was gone, Young stopped time with his stopwatch ability. Young let out a relieved laugh and said he couldn't hold back anymore. He told Nami to come closer and do something very private. He teased her for acting surprised when she knew it was coming. Nami protested that it was sudden and they were in public. Young reminded her she'd worn something revealing like he asked. He called it a reward for listening to him. Nami grumbled that it wasn't a reward. She said he was just doing it for himself. Young ignored her complaints and went ahead with his so-called reward. Choi lay in bed unable to sleep. He kept thinking about the strange noises he heard at the cafe. He wondered if Young and Nami really did something wild there. Nami didn't seem innocent to him anymore. The idea of her and Young doing bold things in a crowded cafe stuck in his head. He told himself it was just his imagination running wild. Those noises happened when he couldn't move his body. Ever since then, weird thoughts wouldn't leave him alone. He tried to shake it off since Young and Nami were adults, and it wasn't his business. He remembered seeing a game-like panel flash before his eyes. It vanished when he could move again. He figured it had to do with Young's powers, but decided to stop overthinking it. Young had told him to train his stamina for powers. Choi chose to focus on that instead of weird ideas. He planned to exercise until he was tired enough to sleep. The next morning, Choi got ready for school. He told his mom, Jungwoon, he was leaving. She smiled and told him to be safe. At school, Choi felt surprisingly good despite no sleep. A bully named Hyukjin bumped into him by accident. Choi apologized, but Hyukjin cursed and threatened him. Hyukjin raised a fist but stopped and told Choi to go. He grumbled that seeing Choi made him mad. In class, the teacher reminded everyone to study hard for the upcoming CSAT. Choi thought Hyukjin let him off easy. He guessed it was because Hyukjin feared Young. He daydreamed about being a strong guy like Young. He glanced at two girls laughing nearby. One was Min Young, who seemed happy today. Choi wanted to get closer to her and remembered Young saying girls liked rough bad guys. Meanwhile, Jungwoon sat at home feeling restless. She hadn't slept either, thinking about Young all night. He hadn't visited yesterday, and she wondered if he was better now. If he was fine, he might not come see her anymore. She felt silly for buying new clothes just in case. Suddenly, Young burst through the door demanding soup. Young-woon quickly served him a bowl. He ate fast and looked upset. She wondered if he was okay but stayed quiet. Young swallowed a spoonful and stared at her. He asked if she did something to him. Young-woon blinked in confusion and asked what he meant. He told her to come closer. He said Choi had told him something troubling. Young-woon said she had no idea what he was talking about. Young explained he heard customers treated her badly. Some even bothered her in a personal way. Young-woon said it was a misunderstanding and just drunk people joking. Young scoffed at the word joke. He reached out and smacked her on the back. Young-woon yelped and asked what he was doing.